Today on Newsline, truck terror in Melbourne's inner west and improving Indigenous learning. Hello and welcome to Newsline. I'm Nathan Tanti. Also today, Australia's bid for the world's largest sporting event, and we'll have all today's finance, sport and weather. But now let's take a look at today's news with Carla Okai.
Thanks, Nathan. The federal opposition says Prime Minister Kevin Rudd has been exposed as a fool over Fuel Watch. A fiery debate in Parliament today saw the opposition accuse the government of arrogance for choosing the ACCC's advice on the national online petrol price watchdog rather than the views of 4 of its own departments. Federal opposition leader Brendan Nelson has told Parliament the decision to ignore departmental advice by what he called a stunt-driven Prime Minister is not acceptable. Dredging at the mouth of the Yarra River is underway as part of the controversial Port Phillip Channel deepening project. Anti-dredging protesters say it's a bad day for the Yarra and Port Phillip, where toxic sediment will be dumped. The unions representing Qantas engineers has refused to rule out further industrial action. Airline passengers are facing delays this evening after more than 200 engineers in Brisbane and Sydney held stop-work meetings to discuss their demand of a 5% pay rise. Qantas engineers will stop work in Melbourne tomorrow. The Nine network has rejected claims that Sam Newman's removal from the footy show will be permanent. Newman has been ordered to attend counselling for his attitudes towards women. Nine's executive director, Jeffrey Brown, says the station should not have allowed Newman back on air so soon after undergoing surgery for prostate cancer. And in local news, police have warned cars parked in multi-storey garages in Melbourne CBD are more susceptible to theft than those parked on the street. More than 20 cars are broken into every day in the CBD, with thieves causing more damage than the value of what they steal. Despite the perception multi-storey car parks are safer, police say they are conducive environments because of the numerous entrances, exits and security camera blind spots. And that's what's making news today. Nathan.
Thanks, Carla. Cosmetic surgery is no longer for the rich and famous, with developments in technology cutting the cost of body enhancement. But just who can carry out the procedures and how much training they receive has led to concerns about safety regulations in the cosmetic industry. Sky Chu reports.
The pursuit of physical perfection has taken cosmetic surgery into the mainstream. It has become so popular because of easy-to-perform procedures.
Nowadays there's so many medical treatments available that are non-invasive, so very quick procedures that can be done like during lunchtime. People can pretty much go back to work the next day.
Cosmetic surgery has been heavily influenced by media and advertising, targeting the younger generation.
When you flip through a magazine, you see all these beautiful people with perfect noses, perfect face shape and perfect boobs. Then, you know, you want that yourself.
A lot of the younger stars always look like they're doing something because they're always changing what their appearances are. So I think the young people today follow that.
The growing accessibility of the industry has caused concern for experts.
There is a tendency amongst some providers to exaggerate the benefits and underestimate the risks. Any doctor can set themselves up as a cosmetic surgeon and call themselves that legally, but they don't necessarily have a lot of training.
The main concern is limited training and minimal regulations in the industry. Nurses are not required to have prerequisite training before operating machinery that could permanently scar a patient.
People can operate those machines after an hour's training from the manufacturer. These procedures can be extremely risky, and given that they're elective, we really need to take care. I'd like to see some licensing of both the operators and the machinery.
Sky Chu, Newsline.
In a plan to improve safety for cyclists, Melbourne City Council is planning to install Copenhagen-style bike lanes on a busy East Melbourne road. The $600,000 development will see cyclists separated from heavy traffic by a lane of parked cars. But as Stephanie Ryan reports, not everyone is happy with the plan.
It's 8:30 in the morning, peak hour. On this congested section of Albert Street, near St Patrick's Cathedral, the council wants to build a new bicycle lane. It says it is needed for the city's cycling community, which is growing by more than 25% every year.
What we need is more standard bike lanes.
The Chamber of Commerce believes the Copenhagen-style lanes, similar to those in Swanston Street, will make the road more dangerous.
We think that a bicycle lane in between shops and parked cars and parked trucks will cause innumerable problems and potential accidents.
Everywhere you go at the moment, people talk about traffic congestion in Melbourne. And what we're effectively doing here is we're taking a lane out of a very important link to the city from the east for the sake of 190 bicycles.
Melbourne City Council says it's a long-term strategy.
More roads equals more cars. The only way to solve traffic congestion is to provide for the alternative, and that's what Council's doing.
Melbourne City Council received 20 objections to the planned bike lane, and protest groups say they are prepared to take their fight to VCAT. But Council is confident the decision won't be overturned.
But the Transport Workers Union is threatening to take it a step further.
Do we have to get to a stage of putting bans on various deliveries?
Stephanie Ryan, Newsline.
Community pressure is mounting on the government to introduce a paid maternity leave scheme. With the cost of living on the rise, it is becoming increasingly difficult for mothers who take time off work to properly care for their babies. Some companies such as Myer offer their employees paid maternity leave, but over 2/3 of Australian mothers have had to go without. The government has put the matter under a Productivity Commission review, but that report is not to be released until February next year. Angered by the impact of trucks on their community, Yarraville residents are calling on the state government to act. Jennifer Grieve reports residents want trucks removed from their streets, already labelled the most polluted in Melbourne.
Residents of Yarraville's Francis Street have had enough. They are protesting against what they say has made their street the most unlivable in Australia.
It's time to say enough.
As many as 7,000 trucks like these use Francis Street every day as a rat run between the Westgate Freeway and Melbourne's Port. Locals say many drivers ignore nightly curfews and speed limits.
On Francis Street, I see trucks running the crossing where the kids go to school quite regularly, running red lights there, which is just obviously incredibly dangerous for not only the kids but anyone who's in that area.
According to the Maribyrnong Truck Action Group, Francis Street has the highest diesel pollution recorded in any residential street in Australia.
And we also know that fine diesel particulates can lead to certain forms of cancer.
Despite these health and safety issues, the state government has failed to respond to the community's concerns.
But now that Ron Eddington's report has come out, there does seem to be a bit more desire to assist us in the process, which we're slightly cynical about.
The Eddington report recommends implementing a truck action plan to remove trucks from local streets and restore community amenity in the inner west.
We found that the situation that's out there today is simply untenable and needs to have something done about it.
The report aims to balance the needs of local residents with economic issues, like the efficient transport of freight.
And at that particular area in Melbourne, it's probably just about the worst that we have seen, where the needs of our broader economy butt right up against the residential needs of people who live in that area.
The Truck Action Plan recommends a new bypass from the Westgate Freeway to Port Melbourne that would greatly reduce the need for heavy trucks to use local streets. But concern remains about the impact Melbourne's expanding port facilities will have on the number of trucks on our roads.
If you're going to have a port that's being dredged so they can take in more containers, how are those containers going to get from the docks to where they've got to go? It's going to be on trucks.
Residents must now await the state government's judgment of the Eddington report, to be announced later this year. Jennifer Grieve, Newsline.
Coming up after the break, Northern Victoria's push to plug the pipeline, plus today's finance and sports news.